we, the slaves of Ryan, discovered the worm where the Lord had cast it down, right here in the ocean. And in envy of the Lord, we did take its dread power into our blood, naming it Adam, in mockery of the one true God. And lo, as we bent our shapes to suit our perverse whims, our false church of Rapture was beset by flood and war. And in the folly of my pride didst I weep.
The attack on the Kashmir restaurant left hundreds dead in the first assault of the Civil War. Diane McClintock was lucky to be alive, though she did not survive unscathed. She suffered multiple wounds to her face that required the experience of Surgeon J.S. Steinman at the medical pavilion.
Dr. Steinman said he'd release me today. Ryan didn't come to see me since the New Year's attack, not once. But Dr. Steinman was very attentive. He told me that once the scar tissue was gone, he was gonna fix me right up, make me prettier than any girl I've ever seen. He's sweet, all right. And so interested in my case.
Her face would never be the same, no matter how determined Dr. Steinman was. The scars would never truly disappear. The same could be said of Rapture. When discharged, McClintock entered a city scarred beyond repair.
I couldn't believe how much things had changed since I left Dr. Steinman's office. It's like I don't even recognize Rapture no more. I hear they've been rounding up people in Paula Square. I asked Ryan how could he do such things to innocents. He said, innocents. If they haven't chosen to defend Rapture, they've chosen to side with Atlas and his bandits. So there are no innocents. There are heroes, and there are criminals.
Since leaving the pavilion, McClintock tried to regain some level of normalcy. But at every turn, something tore that illusion to sunders.
Stood up again. Second time this week. Ever since my face was... Well, Steinman worked on me, but it was never the same since the blast. Being alone so much gives a girl time to think. Who could hate me so much they'd ruin me like this? And what did I do to them? You know, I keep thinking of all them bandits and terrorists Ryan's got locked up in Paula Square, and I get so mad. Sometimes I can hardly breathe. If I could only confront them and tell them what they did to me, how they're ruining everything for me, for Rapture, maybe I'd feel better.
Fueled by anger, she decided to visit Apollo Square. At the outbreak of the Civil War, Apollo Square experienced some of the worst of the conflict, forcing Ryan to institute laws banning public congregation, setting a curfew, and establishing martial law. Unable to control the chaos, Ryan's men locked down the area, barring anyone from entering or leaving the neighborhood. But McClintock found a way in. But there she would see the catastrophic conditions Ryan had imposed.
I bribed one of the gorillas at the gate to let me in. It's awful in here. To my right, I can see a dead woman lying in the street. Everybody just walking by her like she isn't there. But I noticed something spray painted everywhere. Atlas lives. And I don't know what it means, but something tells me it's important to these people. I was so angry when I came down here, but my God, I had no idea. There's armed men all over the place. I saw a woman climb over the fence trying to escape. One of Ryan's guards pointed at her and she lit on fire. Just like that. What's happening here?
What she saw eroded away her love of Andrew Ryan. How could such a man she once worshipped and adored stoop to this level of barbarity? It was beyond her to comprehend, but it did affect her deeply. She turned away from Ryan and joined the ranks of Atlas's army.
The people here have grown to trust me, Ryan's mistress, and still they take me in. They finally brought me to Atlas. Without him, the people of Paula Square would give up. I asked him if he was going to lead the people in some kind of uprising against Ryan. He sighed and said, I am not a liberator. Liberators do not exist. These people will liberate themselves. I thought Andrew Ryan was a great man. I was a fool.
Andrew Ryan, however, didn't have time to react to the betrayal of Diane McClintock. His time and attention focused primarily on securing his control over the city of Rapture.
We're putting all the bathyspheres in lockdown until further notice. Ryan had us install some kind of genetic device into the thing, so only Ryan and his inner circle will be able to use them without dispensation. But the boys tell me the keys are pretty unreliable. Sisters, cousins, anybody in the ballpark genetically will be able to come and go as they see fit.
He even went so far as to deploy a new experimental device that could bring people back to life. Developed by Sinclair Solutions in conjunction with Suchong Laboratories, the Vita Chambers were scattered across Rapture, but Ryan's paranoia limited its use in the field.
Initial deployment, Vita Chamber. Client Ryan Industries, Stage 1, age complete. Sinclair and Alexander tried to explain the science to me, but Suchong does not believe them. They keep saying plasmid reconstruction this and quantum entanglement that, and then poof, dead people come back to life. Bullshit! Of course, Ryan will only allow it to be tuned to his genetic frequencies for the testing.
The Civil War ripped the city apart, and not just structurally. The people themselves devolved into spliced-up monsters on the battlefield, becoming nothing more than a shadow of their former selves. Morality and civility in Rapture were no more.
Always some fly in the ointment. Life in Rapture's been gooder than grits. Business is booming, and me and Clara, hell, that woman's smile's warmer than a belly full of bourbon. Wish I could bottle that and sell it. But now, there's these Atlas radicals causing social unrest. Caught two of them in my factory. One with a pipe, the other with a pocket full of saltpeter. Clara worries about my heart. Says not to overreact. Well, I worry about hers. It's just too big for business. Markets might correct themselves, but men need punishing to get right. Poor young Burke died an awful death at the fisheries today. Mangled. Floor was slick with guts. Clumsy arse must have slipped. Suppose it was me heard his last words. Something to do with a stash of Adam he's got hid in his cabin. Shame to see him go. Had such great faith in his fellow man. Some of us been talking about changes in the labor laws down here. But you gotta be careful. In Rapture, talking can disappear a fella. Not just his body either, but his stuff too. And all records of him. People stop saying his name for fear. But not me. I'll go down to Ryan HQ and weld my name across the building in 40-foot letters!
The theaters, they have closed, and so I am alone. This life without the stage, it has always been for me drudgery. My isolation is my own doing, this I know, but I am made this way, a creature of detachment. But possibly, I can remake myself. With Adam, maybe I can live like the others. In ignorance, yes, but no longer alone.
I know I shouldn't have let them in, but they said they had Adam, and it's just so hard to find these days, and well, somehow they grabbed Susie. So I shocked one of them, but next thing I know I was frozen. I couldn't move, but I could see, and I saw them take my Susie away. Oh, but I am going to march over to that orphanage, and after I find her, I am going to find them.
It's been 6 months now since Clara disappeared without a word. I've been searching this city from Olympus Heights down to Papa's goddamn dropping back again, and not so much as a trace. Lord, I need that woman. Where's the ransom demand, huh? Did I miss it somehow? I'm not partial to Adam, but these plasmids can help me search in places I know I ain't welcome. And those are the places she's most likely to be. Clara, honey, hold on. I'm coming for you. Middle of the night, I heard a sound like whale song. I leaped from my hammock and pressed my ear up against the glass. It was the ocean herself speaking to me, telling me stolen is her holy blood. It's only I can use it with her blessing. That's it, fat cats. Revolution. Right now! Needle goes here. Just a push and... in our hands is placed the power. Greater than their heart and cold. Greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old. For the union makes us strong.
Today I went outside into the halls of Rapture, and I found myself beside myself. Oh, how I love this Lord! The aromas, the sweet roasting of flesh, the exquisite nestle burn of sulfur, the air ripe with the moans of defeat, the bellowings of victory. Such drama, and all so real. This is what the theater can never be. This is life.
These bastards down here don't know it yet, but I am the sea made flesh. I'll wash through these holes, reclaiming her sacred blood, filling me veins with her strength, and I'll guide the foul vessels of Ryan and Atlas toward one another, till a mighty crash founders them both. Oh Christ, me seawater's boiling over. I'll be right back. I've been gutted. Caught like a fish on a line with my insides tore clean out of me. Got the report my security system was triggered down at the distillery. Goddamn terrorists at it again. I rushed down here to find a twisted heap of sparking security bots and mutilated bodies. One of them was still alive, barely, and humming a goddamn labor hymn. I couldn't believe my ears, 'cause I knew the voice was the voice I've been aching to hear for nigh on a year. It was Clara, my Clara, leading the charge against me.
We went on a raid outside the wire today. We snagged 31 rounds of buckshot, 4 frag grenades, a shotgun, and 34 Atom. We lost McGee, Epstein, and Vallette. We got one of those goddamn big daddies in the bargain, though. It was something awful they had to do to that little girl to get the Atom, but we didn't start this thing. Ryan did. I can't wait to tell Atlas. He'll be so pleased.
Never play a man for the short con when you can play him for the long one. Atlas is the longest con of all. Ryan wanted Frank Fontaine dead. I just gave him what he wanted. As Atlas, I got a new face, a clean record, and a fresh start. Now, it's time to take back Rapture.
He'll be so pleased.
Oh, Mrs. McClintock! What are you doing here? Let me just turn this off.
For 2 years, the war devastated the utopian city under the sea. Many lives were claimed on the field of battle, taken by loved ones or through malicious intent. Diane McClintock would fall victim to the latter, killed by Fontaine to preserve his secret identity. Yet the man with the largest target on his back was the man who built the utopia, Andrew Ryan. He experienced the most amount of assassination attempts on his life, but he had successfully taken multiple precautions to prevent this from happening. And, as a warning to those who tried to kill him, he hung the bodies of would-be assassins on the pillars just outside his office. This became known as his trophy wall. But that did little to dissuade anyone from trying.
I spent the afternoon trying to get as close to Ryan's gate as possible without making a spectacle of myself. He's got it shielded 6 ways to Leicester. There's no way into that base. All I got from my trouble was the hairy eyeball from Ryan's splicer mates. What's the reward you get for trying to outsmart the best electrical engineer of our generation?
Electrical engineer Gaymer left Australia for Rapture in 1947 and rose through the ranks of Hephaestus workshops to become the main supervisor. Like most, he viewed Ryan highly initially, but those views soured quickly when the war broke out. Now, Gaymer only wished the best electrical engineer of our generation were gone. But how, he wondered, until one night it came to him in a dream.
What a balmy dream. Some kind of fruit tree spinning like a top. And it was pouring juice down Ryan's throat, choking the bastard. But it wasn't a tree, really. When I looked closer, it was the core control. The gizmo that feeds the mag locks on Ryan's gate. You can't cut off the power. It comes right from the volcanic vents. Ryan always gets his juice. But I suppose you could drown the son of a bitch in it.
Over the next few weeks, Gaymer set to work, building such a bomb that would blow the vents to Ryan's security gate.
The basic casing is ready. I've got one charge of nitroglycerin in my office. That will serve as the catalyst. Now I need 4 R34 lead shield wire stubs to pass the circuit. Then a half can of ionic gel. That's the pretty Betty of the mix. Should send the core into compensation mode, push power down the line and trigger the circuit breaker on Ryan's gate. Well, that's the theory. It'll either work like a charm or blow up half of Rapture. Nothing ventured.
Constructing the bomb took longer than he had expected. The war had put everyone on edge, causing mass paranoia. The workers eyed one another, unsure who could be trusted. Anything out of the usual became suspect.
Do you guys have any idea there's a war on? If you don't follow proper maintenance of those big daddies, they burn through those R-34s like them Eve's apple berries go through penicillin. I've got Atlas's goons hitting us non-stop and 2 dead mechanics just this week. We need to control costs. If I wanted to deal with amateurs, I would have stayed on dry land.
Gaymer was not immune to the mental distress caused by the war either. In fact, he began to suspect that a woman who began nosing around his Hephaestus was a secret agent closing in on his creation. However, Anya Andersdotter was anything but. She had come for similar reasons.
Me? An assassin? Oh, that's rich. I could have gone along, I suppose. Spliced up. Forgot. I believed in this place. I believed in Ryan. But when it got hard, Ryan didn't believe in Rapture. Didn't believe in the Great Chain. He believed in power. And now this place is busto. And my girl is... gone. Worse than gone. One of those... things. So am I an assassin? Well, only one way to find out.
She staked out his Hephaestus to learn its inner workings and figure out a plan to get close to Andrew Ryan. She even flirted with Pablo Navarro, a maintenance worker, in the hopes he'd spill some valuable information.
I didn't recognize the twist that come into the shop today. Stacked like Sally and dressed to the nines. She's played her cards pretty close to the vest, but you ain't gotta be no college job to see that she's into some bad china. She was asking about magnetic locks and some such. I played it coy, but she took wise. After she showed me round her backyard, I gave her directions to Keyboard's tool shop. Rapture's gone to hell, but sometimes the Great Chain still cuts you a break.
It took time, but she eventually got what she wanted.
I had to go jungle style with that filthy ape for 3 weeks, but he finally spilled the beans on how to get to Andrew Ryan. Generate a sympathetic overload in harmonic core number 3. That's simple. Now all I gotta do is figure out what the hell a sympathetic overload is, and for that matter, a harmonic core number 3. Piece of cake for an electrical engineer. Too bad I designed ladies' shoes. Gonna go see the grease monkeys left alive in heat loss monitoring. See what I can shake out of their trees.
However, as luck would have it, Gaymer had been keeping tabs on her movements, ever confident that she must be a spy. Thus, before she had a chance to snoop through his office, he ratted her out to Ryan.
Ryan's splicers are dragging the young woman off right now. I'm certain she's one of Ryan's spies, sent to feel me out. I think think she is. If I'm wrong, an innocent girl will end up on Ryan's bloody trophy wall. If I'm right, well, I'd best be right. The device is almost finished. I can't get soft now, I can't.
Indeed, Anya Andersdotter was strung up by a harpoon outside Ryan's office. As for the bomb, Kybers would never have a chance to set it off. He'd be killed before he could finish it. It would lie in a crawl space of Hephaestus, forgotten for a time. Perhaps the biggest blow to Ryan was the turning of Bill McDonough. He had been there since even before Rapture became a reality. But Ryan's mounting authoritarian decrees and orders over the years had planted a wedge between the two men. The outbreak of war distanced them even further, where after 2 years of non-stop struggling, McDonough had to confront the only option left if the city of Rapture were to survive.
I never killed a man, let alone a mate. But this is what things come to. I don't know if killing Mr. Ryan will stop the war, but I know it won't stop while that man breathes. I love Mr. Ryan, but I love Rapture. If I have to kill one to save the other, so be it.
Andrew Ryan caught wind of the conspiracy Bill McDonough was a part of and squashed it before any real action could be taken. McDonough would be hung up on the trophy wall beside Anya Andersdotter. Despite the mounting losses and the destruction of his city, Andrew Ryan remained adamant that he would never yield Rapture to anyone else. No matter how much he might waver, he refused to relent.
Could I have made mistakes? One does not build cities if one is guided by doubt. But can one govern in absolute certainty? I know that my beliefs have elevated me just as I know that the things I have rejected would have destroyed me. But the city, it's collapsing before my... Have I become so convinced by my own beliefs that I have stopped seeing the truth? Perhaps. But Atlas is out there, and he aims to destroy me and to destroy my city. To question is to surrender. I will not question.
His conviction throughout the war bore fruit. Yi Su-chang's pheromone experiment proved successful, helping turn the tide of war. Over the next few weeks, Atlas's army suffered massive losses and were losing ground by the day. Ryan was on the verge of winning, but Fontaine had an
New face. I have a new goddamn face. Who'd have thought? Rapture. Paradise of the confidence man. I gotta keep revising the Atlas voice. I figure the accent gives me an excuse to lock myself in a room with a bottle and count the cash. War's on in full now, boy. And I've got a hell of a surprise for Andrew Ryan. Long time coming. And right about now, I expect the prodigal son is booking his flight.